Hi everyone, welcome to this reading. So we're just going to dive right into this one. I have a couple cards that are already out. I kind of felt like I needed to do it this way this time. I'm just going to run you through the story that I'm getting because it's actually a lot of information. I'm speaking to a collective here who is like, long ago there was something that we knew was part of ourselves, or some way that we identified ourselves as, and we put that behind us in order to focus on our future. It's like we thought that we had to leave it behind in order to create a better future for ourselves, whoever this message is for. And whatever this is, it's like someone has spent a time in their life almost like purifying the self. It's like someone has had some storyline where they felt like there was something intrinsically wrong with them, like that question going over and over: what's wrong with me? What's wrong with me? Doing plant medicine to figure out what's wrong with me, doing this to figure out what's wrong with me, something like that. And this may have even manifested itself in a projection of that, where you're constantly trying to fix people or trying to fix situations, or yeah, I'm gonna just leave it there. And what seems to have happened is I feel that this reading is coming, and people are on a different place in that timeline. This reading is specifically for people who are no longer doing that. Okay. It feels like the person that I'm reading for, and I'm going to state it as a person because this reading really isn't meant for very many people. The person that this specific reading is trying to speak to, it feels a little bit like after going through this period of like relentless personal cleansing and purification, we realized that we could separate ourselves from that storyline. And that's where I'm seeing almost like these sheets that are sewn together, and we had to pull it apart, right? We had to separate ourselves from the story that constantly kept itself enmeshed in our perception, the way that we viewed the world, the way that we viewed ourselves, the choices and actions that we take for ourselves. Someone had to separate themselves from that. And what seems to be happening after that is a long period of learning more about the self without that label, without that lens, learning about what you deserve without that lens. It's been a time of like lots of personal empowerment for whoever this message is for. And because you have empowered yourself to such a degree, it's almost as though I'm seeing a tree grow. It's like there's something here within us that is growing. And now those psychic and mental and telepathic faculties, and I hate to use those labels because they speak to very specific things, which I don't think they're actually that categorized. There's something inside of our perception, our consciousness, our awareness that is beginning to tap into a greater field. And variations on that message keep coming through inside my reading. So this is definitely a process that's happening on the collective level. But what's coming through inside this message is that because this is about to start happening, a greater awareness of your stability must be reached, right? So you may be working on your own stability, your own foundations, and it has to be done in a different way than what it was done previously. Remember, previously we put something about ourselves aside in order to pursue a future. And I feel that whoever's message this is, you've realized that that is your future. Right? And now you may be incorporating these things. This may be what's actually supercharging this growth into this other field. But it's important to remember that you have some things to come back to return to, right? Because you can't stay in this sort of field forever. For some of you, I almost feel that this is very creative. Maybe you have finally picked up writing and you've gotten this novel idea. And anybody who's ever written can tell you, especially fiction, there's a certain level of obsession that has to take over in order for you to feel like you're actually in the world and accomplishing it, and for it to be the best that it can be. And in order for you to not get lost in it and to have a completely unbalanced life that falls apart at the hinges, you have to have something stable to come back to. Whether it's a stable home, a stable family, a stable job, right? There's something about our own personal stability that is like our safety net in this scenario. Rather than being survival, it's our safety net. Maybe for some of you, it's you might be part of that collective that is tapping back into a magical current, right? In order to not get lost in that current. And when we invite like spiritual forces into our life, because they are amorphous, because they are so powerful, if you already have a chaotic life, it just adds more chaos to your life. It very rarely adds stability to your life. for most people, truly spiritual fields will add more chaos. And so it's important to have that grounding and to have your life in order to a certain degree before you invite that energy in. And this is what I'm seeing. Someone is being guided to really get their stability in order. I keep seeing the number 4. Okay, we have 2 number 4s out here, and then I actually have my channel stats up, and I keep seeing 4s everywhere. 4, it's bringing me into the energy of squaring the circle, right? The circle being like that, the divine, the like spiritual wholeness, that completion, the even to some ways like that abstraction, and then materializing it, bringing it into the material, giving it a vessel, right? There's something here about providing some sort of stability is going to give your work form, okay? There's this energy that's coming in. It feels very much like an anchor, and so I just keep seeing an anchor. So it's really about learning how to create a solid anchor for yourself so that you don't lose yourself, because the energy that someone is tapping into, I don't want to use the word volatile. It feels fast moving. It feels fast moving. It feels overwhelming. It feels extremely powerful. And so having that anchor to really solidify you so that you have something to come back to is very important. For some of you, you're going to find that you really find that anchor in your routines, but I'm being very specifically drawn again to the number 4. And when I lean into that energy, it's very much about finances, like your financial stability, because you have to be able to pay your bills and feed yourself. And then it's your relationships, it's your body, and it's what was the other one? What am I feeling here? This one's a little different. I don't know. I'm gonna come back to that one. That one's a little bit different for me. Maybe it'll like come forward a little bit stronger. There's also one that's coming up, and I'm almost feeling it in my body now. There's one that's coming up in here, and it's our emotions. What do you do to emotionally fulfill yourself? And it goes beyond I'm enjoying what I'm doing and I'm losing myself in this thing that I'm enjoying. There's something else that needs to be done in order to provide that emotional fulfillment. So working on your relationships, working on maybe, you know, like journaling for yourself and being able to reframe your own emotions. There's something here about finding something that emotionally fulfills you. Some of you might find that in nature. Others of you might find that going out to a mall and shopping, honestly. Like whatever it is that you really enjoy that makes you feel like you refreshed yourself. Having that clearly in mind that you can come back to whenever it's like you touch back down, right? Because that's how it feels. It feels like someone's going to space and they need to touch back down, and they have to remember to touch back down. And when they do, they have to come back into their stability, and then they have to have this emotional fulfillment along with it so that they're ready for the next journey. For some of you, this very much is about astral projection. You may be experiencing astral projections right now, or you really got serious about astral projection work. Some of you, it might be dream work, because dream work can very much be like that. Remembering that part of your stability is to actually let yourself sleep sometimes, rather than feeling that you have to wake up inside of every dream. If you've ever gotten in dream work and you got in that habit, because it can become something that's so fun you get obsessed about, and you wake up inside of every dream, that's a really good way to burn out. It's a really good way. If you hear my stomach growling, I haven't eaten yet. I keep forgetting to eat today. Speaking of stability, keep forgetting to eat. I'm about an hour and a half behind. It's fine. It's fine. It's almost like an energy as though, like, I can almost see it like, you know, Merlin going to young Arthur and prepping him for an adventure. You know what I mean? That's kind of how it feels. It's like a very caring spirit coming through saying, hey, you know, that adventure you're about to embark on, let's make sure your bases are covered before you start, right? So that you don't like crash when you're doing this, or you don't derail your life while you're doing this. So really focus on your stability right now. If you are resonating with this message and you think that this is you, don't stress about it. You know, don't get all like your panties in a bunch about it, because when we do stress about our stability, it tends to put us in that survival mode, and then that frenetic energy, right? And then we start to make decisions that aren't necessarily the best for us. So just know that, you know, you're working through it. You're working through your stability. You're working on things to be a little bit more stabilized. Some of your stability is great. It's almost like just check the chains, right? Check the chain links. Make sure that anchor is in there. Make sure the tent doesn't blow away in the storm. There is something very, I've been hesitating to say volatile. I don't want to say volatile, but for some of you, there is something chaotic in the energy that you're about to explore. I don't know why, but I feel like somebody's about to get into like something like the Goetia or the Necronomicon. Not that I feel that the Goetia is volatile. I actually don't at all. But depending on your belief system behind it, right? There's something, I don't know why this is making me smile. It's making me smile. There's something here, maybe even like a Nokian. Somebody's getting into something that carries a little bit more of that chaos energy behind it. And I almost feel like creating order out of chaos is the theme for whoever's message that is. Creating order out of chaos is going to be like the next phase of your journey. And I think that in some ways, it's good to kind of like just take stock at this time. It does feel like someone is about to step over the threshold, or at least has taken the first steps over that threshold into a much more expansive field of energy. And you don't want to lose yourself, right? You want to be able to know which way you're going, know which way is up. And that's the whole purpose of having the stability in place. It's why inside the Three of Wands to the Four of Wands is the explorer creating base camp. It's because they've gotten to a new land, and colonizers, they are, in the Three of Wands, they totally are, and the wand suit. And they're basically going in, and they have a base camp to come back to. And that's really what this message is saying, is establish some sort of base camp for yourself. Be it a particular room inside of your house that you can go to and you find extremely grounding, or, setting an alarm on your phone to make sure that you come back into yourself and that you take a couple moments to be present within your body. Don't forget that there's 4 areas inside your life, whatever 4 you choose those to be. I'm feeling for most of you, they are like family, your finances, your relationships, and your home life. There we go. It was family. That's the one that was elusive to me. Maybe for some of you, you find your family elusive. You can find a different way to anchor yourself for that 4th one. Why the number 4? I feel like whoever's message this is, symbolic language is going to be very important for you coming up. Our subconscious speaks the language of symbols, which is why we have the dreams that we do. And it's why ritual is so important, to reprogram our subconscious. Ritual is symbolic. It's a symbolic language. And, if you think about it, that means that symbols are our language, maybe not on a conscious level, but our subconscious kind of being the driver of our behaviors and our beliefs and our actions. We could say that symbols are everything for us as people. And I think that the number 4 and anchoring yourself in 4 ways, that's kind of the message, is that it really triggers something powerful inside your subconscious to remind you to come back. To remind you that you are a stable being and that you have sovereignty. You don't have to get lost to these other energies or inside these other energy fields. That candle is huge, by the way. I don't know what's going on with that flame right now, but so this is the message. I'm going to leave this here. It's a little shorter, and I'm going to tend to this flame before it burns this house down. So I hope that if this resonates with you, good luck, and feel free to like this, feel free to leave a comment, and until next time.